is everybody? Today our devotional speaker is Dawn Allen. Dawn was born in Boston, but moved to Corpus Christi when she was just 5 years old, and she has been a proud Texan ever since. She and her husband have been blessed with 2 sons and a daughter, and today their family has grown to include 5 granddaughters and 1 grandson. 3 of them are already in college, and 3 are about to go. And Dawn is looking forward to visiting them, especially because 3 are playing college sports. Much of Dawn's work experience has been in the medical field, including working alongside her husband in the dental office, handling billing and payroll. But above all, Dawn will tell you that her faith and family are her greatest treasures. One of the most meaningful moments, she says, was witnessing her children's baptism. Dawn has been a part of this Bible study since the very beginning and loves sharing her faith and building relationships with women in her small group. One of her greatest achievements? Hula hoop contest winner. I looked for a hula hoop so she could show us today. We'll have to put that on the table for next time. I've had the privilege of being in one of Dawn's small groups, but my favorite memory goes back even further. I used to walk past her house every day on the way to Cullen Junior High, since we lived on the same street for years. And of course, everyone had a crush on Dawn's brother, Dennis. So, anyway, please join me in welcoming Dawn Allen.
Good morning. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. I can't hear me. Oh, there we go. As she said, my name is Dawn Allen. First, before I do my devotional, I have a little confession and a little promotion. Linda Pate said she needed a devotional for this week. In fact, she needs a couple more weeks to finish us out. And I thought to myself, well, I have a devotional I did several years ago. I hope that not everybody has heard it, and maybe it was real refreshing for me to go over it. So if you have anything that you've read or experienced that you can share with the group, Linda could use some more devotionals this year. Okay, I'm going to start with a short prayer. It says, where is it? Oh, may the words of my mouth and the mediation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Okay, the book that I'm just really giving a book review with a little extra little points. I don't know how many of y'all have read 7 Lessons from Heaven and How Dying Taught Me to Live a Joy-Filled Life. I'll repeat that. Dying taught me to live a joy-filled life. So how many of you want to go to heaven? Today? And if you're like me, I've got some things I need to finish. Anyway, we might be like my oldest son when he was in kindergarten. The kids lined up to get ashes for Ash Wednesday. The priest suddenly popped in and gave a quick explanation of what he was going to do. When he approached my son jumped back and said, I don't want to go to heaven today. So maybe it's best if we learn about heaven from Mary Neal, the author of the book. She's an orthopedic surgeon who died, went to heaven, but she came back. She was told that she had to go back, even though she didn't want to, because her family would need her when her son died at age 18, and he did, in an accident. Mary had a near-death experience while she was kayaking in Chile. She was strapped in her boat, both her knees were broken, and had turned over, and she was held under for over 30 minutes. Usually 5 to 8 minutes, your brain starts dying. People asked her so many questions about heaven when they would see her, and she had a lot of interviews. And some people just thought those are hallucinations. You know, that's what happens, your mind works like that. So she decided to kind of take a medical and research attitude toward it, and decided to write this book, 7 Lessons from Heaven. This is what she learned. Number 1 is that circumstances make sense when seen through heaven's lens, and the abundant grace we receive from God is the same grace that we can give to other people. She had a review of her life with Jesus as he sat beside her. He went through incidences in her life and showed her how they affected other people. She tasted the eternal goodness and grace that awaits us all. She was given a chance to rethink her life. The second point was that death is not to be feared, because death is not the end, it's a threshold where we leave our physical selves and walk whole into eternity. There are 125 near-death experiences in the Bible. And all the experiences are so similar. People of very different cultures, religions, different time periods, they all experience the same type of thing. They reported a sense of well-being infused with pure light. There's just a separation of body and spirit. Even many years later, people can give a perfect playback of what they experienced. Whereas when you dream, you can kind of remember it, or maybe you don't remember it very long, but these people could tell you exactly what it was like. Number 3, choosing forgiveness releases our burdens and frees us to live fully and joyfully in God's extravagant love. C.S. Lewis said, "Joy is the serious business of heaven." For heaven is a reality that we are made whole with no pain, no sorrow, no suffering. Understanding prevails. Relationships in heaven are reconciled, and we will be with God and our loved ones. Mary was often asked how our bodies would be in heaven. She said they will be beautifully radiant and exquisitely vibrant. That's a little change from what we're used to. She couldn't answer the question about hell because she didn't experience that. But one day I asked a nurse that was taking care, she ran a very small home place for to take care of people who were really dying. And she told me that the meanest, nastiest woman she ever took care of, when she was dying, all she did was scream and yell about the fire that was around her bed. So maybe we need, these glimpses are made so that we can think a little bit about how we might want to change our life. Number 5, big miracles happen sometimes, but personal miracles happen often. God invites us to notice his miracles and his presence all around us. Back in 2001, I had a very serious car accident. I was told after I was recovering that only 10% of people who experienced the damage that I had survive. So I guess you could call this a miracle, my miracle and my nearly near-death experience. Because I don't remember, my husband tells me that when they were taking me out of the car that I was screaming and yelling. I don't remember any of that. I had glass all in my head and all the way up to here embedded, well, to here. No damage to my face. The only scar I have is where they put the chest tube in. So I think that's a pretty good miracle. God has a plan for each of us that's full of hope, promise, and beauty. He wants us to discover what he has waiting for us. But we have excuses, like we're not really capable enough to do the task he wants us to do, like giving a devotion. We have fear that we don't want to go where God is leading us. We forget that God delights in using ordinary people to accomplish great things. Mother Teresa and Billy Graham started movements that resulted in many finding God's love. They just put one foot in front of the other every day, knowing that the one who is in us is greater than the one is in the world. There's a story of a woman in the book walking through Brooklyn in the dark at night in a crime-ridden area. She was walking as fast as she could and praying for protection. She did notice a man that she walked past that looked like he was up to evil. Later that night, after she went home, she had watched on TV and saw that a man had raped a woman in that same area. So she went down the police station because she knew she could identify the man positively. The police officer was curious and asked the man, how did you choose one woman? You know, you passed over this other one. He said, well, she had two big guys on either side of her. I wasn't going to take her, but she was alone. Our last number 7 is that our mistakes and failures, tragedies and losses, God never leaves us. In his goodness and love, he surrounds us, and in his time, beauty blossoms. In all things, we're called to reach for gratitude and peace. In every circumstance, bless you, in every circumstance, our mandate is always to share God's love at all times with everyone we meet in this broken world. That's how beauty breaks through for them. Now, doesn't that sound like Paul? Paul writes in 2 Corinthians that we are to fix our eyes on what is seen, not on what is seen, but is what is unseen. Because what is seen is temporary and what is unseen is eternal. There is a statue of St. Paul in Jerusalem near where Jesus was taken down, before his crucifixion, where he stayed overnight. And Jerome sitting at a desk writing, because he transcribed the Bible into Latin from, I think, Greek. And anyway, on it is sitting a skull, and that was to remind him that you need to remember that what we have here is temporary. Mary wrote so much more about forgiveness and how to share it with others, but I don't have time to tell you all about it. So I'll pull a Paula Harvey and tell you, you need to read the book to know the rest of the story. But I do want to leave you with one other example. The family is gathered around, this one's hard for me, around the loved one. They knew she was dying, and when she starts that difficult breathing called the death rattle, one of her relatives whispers, she's going. But simultaneously, her family and relatives are exalting, calling out, she's coming.